Minecraft has always been one of the easiest and most popular games out there, and the problem is that Mojang tries to keep up with the trend of adding new updates to the game to just make it even easier. I mean, right now you don't even have to chop blocks to smelt half a stack of iron, you just need to run around left clicking on the ground for 10 seconds and there you are. A stack of leaves smelts half a stack of literally everything, so settle in and be ready to explore why easy updates to the game might actually end the whole era. In the recent summer drop, Mojang added what I would say is one of the most disappointing things to the game: the saddle craft. Before the update, saddle had a crucial purpose for the early stages of the game, and please don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about riding horses. If you've ever played Minecraft at least once in a lifetime, then you should probably remember that enormous amount of time you spent in caves searching for mineshafts that didn't even guarantee to have saddle in them. This item was literally forcing you to go down deep into caves and explore the world, which, well, is the main purpose of playing Minecraft. I specifically named this update as start of the game's end in order to suggest that there are actually other items that force you to explore, like name tag for example, but I'm kind of worried that this update will be praised by new players, leading to Mojang adding tons of new crafts. Cause if you can craft previously rare and frustrating items with just 3 leather and 1 iron, why don't Mojang add a craft for a name tag? 1 paper and 1 string will be enough, cause this is logical, as they say. It almost seems like Mojang tries to make the game be as suitable for the new players as it can be, so that when they'll finish watching that beautiful 1.20 Minecraft trailer, they would not be heavily disappointed since they won't be able to ride camels from the start of the day 1. Yeah, I might understand that Mojang were recently laughed at since the player then had an ability to craft a gigantic saddle for guests, but not the one for the horse. But I think that they responded the wrong way. Instead of adding a new craft to the horse saddle too, they should have made the ghast one appear as rare, if not more rare. What if the player could find a ghast saddle in those tiny underwater mansions? It will first be suitable to the game's lore, and secondly, it will finally provide the purpose to, I don't know what it's called, structures. It becomes kinda sad to realize that Mojang evolved the game towards more of a money-making machine rather than an actually enjoyable experience. With each year, the game becomes even easier, as though they try to make as much money as possible from the new players purchasing the game. But that money printing does not stop on saddle only. Mojang continued to kill the game 1 month ago when they added a new mob called Nautilus. Nautilus, from the game's lore and diversity perspective, was a perfect addition that added that touch of freshness to the current oceans, which by the way were lastly updated 7 years ago. Underwater hostile mobs like Drowned will now have a partner, which would make it harder to escape from them, and more importantly, will just make ocean exploration more interesting. Well, that's all the positives I have to say, and if I'll be honest, Nautilus riding almost seems like riding an underwater tank, which is unstoppable. Netherite armor makes it nearly immortal, meaning that simple hits of Drowned would not be able to deal a noticeable amount of damage. Nautilus has a special ability to dash while being underwater, which brings it 5 blocks forward in literally milliseconds. I would kinda understand Nautilus only if the dash had a reloading time of 10 to 15 seconds, which would finally make sense since its speed would be the same as the boat one. However, the reality is that it takes 2.5 seconds to reload. I mean, that's an underwater elytra that is 3 times faster than the boat. That just kills them. And you know what else kills it? The infinite underwater breathing. When the player right clicks the Nautilus, he or she gains what's called the Nautilus breathing. That in short gives you an infinite amount of oxygen, which means that you can travel at any time, everywhere, for infinite amount of time underwater. Even if the player starts to get damage from drowning, Nautilus will not only stop it immediately, but will allow the player to regenerate the damage. I don't even have to say anything here. Instead of providing infinite amounts of oxygen, Nautilus should at least slow it down to 2 or 3 times so that the player would still have a need to find underwater sources of oxygen. The problem is that such mechanic completely eliminates the purpose of crafting the turtle helmet, for example, which was specifically designed to serve a specific purpose and fix the fatal armor problem in the game, which I made a previous video on, so definitely check that out. But yeah, Mojang decided to completely ignore it, just like they ignored the fact of how easy it is to obtain a Nautilus. Nautilus spawns in every water source except small rivers. It is easily noticeable, and it requires you to feed it a couple of pufferfish and put a saddle which you can craft now. The only thing that might stop you from getting the most unbalanced transportation is poison poison from pufferfish. It sounds ridiculous. It is actually the second time that Mojang added a completely imbalanced item to the game that made its alternatives just be forgotten, and I'm talking about Spear. By the way, it literally has the same problem, which I'll explore more deeply in the video above. But let's put Nautilus aside and talk about more positive things. There's one small update that gained little attention from the community, but actually solved a huge problem. In the recent January, Mojang finally eased the craft of Lodestone, which now requires you to put an iron ingot instead of the netherite one. Such a simple change would now finally make sense for the player to craft a compass and use it for its intended purpose. Players were complaining about coordinates for a long time, saying that they completely eliminated the interestingness of items like maps and compasses, and I was actually one of them. But now, with an ease of Lodestone craft, you will be able to carry multiple compasses showing directions of all of the important points in the world. You can't even use a bundle in order to save store for those compasses, since they can take quite a lot of space. And finally, the lead. In spite of easing the success of Lodestone craft, lead did not face such benefits. For the addition of flying gas to the game, lead only requires some string now, which I think is completely logical, since Slime Ball was the reason why lead was so stretchy. I can't say that lead was so difficult to get even before that, since all it required you to get was to go to the swamp during the correct phase of the moon. If you could find a swamp on the first day, you could get some slime instantly, since the moon on the first night was always suitable for the slime spawn. But even if you can't see any swamps, you can still go down to the cave and meet some slimes there, which I think is not that difficult at all. The ease of left craft almost seems to be added just so that new players could try the new features of updates as soon as possible, which I think is a completely wrong decision for the game with millions of other players. What do you think? Do you think that new updates are made to just make more money? Let me know down in the comments below and I'll read all of them. If you have the specific video suggestion, want to get more announcements about the new videos, or just want to talk, then join my Discord server when we have a small community that is always ready to welcome you. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you the next time.